How you doing? I'm John Morgan, and I'm a coach. And I've taken a lot of inspiration from the movie The Hobbit on how to actually create coaching clients. Like people that I work with, I consider to be heroes. And in the movie The Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins is a hero. And in the beginning of the movie, Gandalf, the wizard, recruits him to join him on an adventure. And so I've cut out a bunch of clips in the movie. I've kept them as tight as possible to try to use the footage in fair use. So if you actually want to see the whole story, I highly suggest you watch the film. It's awesome. But I'm going to walk through some clips here, and then I'm going to talk about how each clip has inspired me in a particular way in which I create my own coaching clients in my business. So, first clip, here we go.
Right then, I'm off. Off to where? East Farthing Woods. I'm going to surprise him.
Well, go on then.
You don't want to be late.
He doesn't approve of being late. Not that.
Now that's actually Bilbo, the older Bilbo, talking to Frodo from Lord of the Rings, but he's talking about Gandalf's way of being. Gandalf's way of being is that he doesn't approve of being late. And I think this is an important thing, like taking on this idea of approving things and not approving things, and having kind of some strictness to you, some professionalism to you as a coach. There's things that's okay with me, and there's things that not. It's important for you to take a level of seriousness into yourself and into your business, not shy away from that and feel like, oh, I don't want to be too serious and be too strict about things. The strictness is an important part of the character of the person who is a coach and recruiting the other person to their journey. Next piece.
In those days, I was always on time. I was entirely respectable. And nothing unexpected ever happened.
So this is Bilbo talking about how he was in those days before he went on that adventure that he goes on. This is footage from later talking about the beginning. And so he's saying that in those days he was always on time. He was entirely respectable and nothing unexpected ever happened. And so essentially you're looking for people as potential clients whose life is just routine. Everything's expectable. Maybe they're in a rut. The same stuff is happening over and over and over again. This is pretty much the type of person that I look for when I'm coaching. It's like, yeah, they've been high achievers, they've done stuff, but they've gotten to a place where like everything is pretty much the same. Life's okay, but it's also not exciting. It's not adventurous yet. So this is in essence talking about the type of person almost that you'd be looking for. Maybe not the type, but the place they're at in their life. Unexpected stuff doesn't happen. They're in a routine.
Good morning.
What do you mean? Do you mean to wish me a good morning, or do you mean that it is a good morning whether I want it or not? Or perhaps you mean to say that you feel good on this particular morning. Or are you simply stating that this is a morning to be good on?
All of them at once, I suppose.
So this is interesting because I love how it's kind of a funny thing, right? He says good morning, the potential client. Bilbo says good morning, and Gandalf says, what do you mean good morning? And basically what he's doing is he's just shaking him up. He's just challenging his reality. He's just having him start to question things that he takes for granted as just kind of normal and the way things should be. And this is a huge part for me in client creation, is when I talk to people, I say things and I ask things that have them say, whoa, wait a minute, I never thought about that before, or holy crap, I didn't realize that this thing that I just took for fact or truth was just actually that way in my mind because I'm looking at it that way. Shaking up people's perception of reality can start to open up them to new possibilities.
Can I help you?
That remains to be seen.
So that remains to be seen whether or not you can help me. That remains to be seen whether or not you, the potential client, can help me, the coach. How does that make sense? Because my job as a coach, and when I talk about coaching, I'm talking about me, right? My job as a coach is to impact people so they can impact other people so those people can impact the world. I'm interested in coaching people who are heroes, in the Latin root of the word servo, meaning to serve. So I'm looking for people who are going to service and make a difference in the world, whether it's in their community, their family, their society, or the whole world. It doesn't matter what the scale is so much as that they're oriented towards making a difference. And so I have a mission. just like Gandalf has a mission. And my mission is to create that impact. And it remains to be seen whether or not you, the person I'm talking to right now, who I'm trying to see if you have an adventure within you, you're being called to, that I could support you in, it remains to be seen whether or not you are somebody that could also help me achieve my adventure, to achieve my outcome and my impact in the world.
I'm looking for someone to share in an adventure.
This is a small point, but I think it's a cool one. I'm looking for someone to share an adventure. Like, I'm not looking for a client to coach on their adventure. I'm looking for somebody to partner with. When I take on clients, it's like you and me together on that mission that is yours to achieve that thing, but it's also my mission to achieve that thing. You achieving your greatness, you having impact in the world, that I'm piggybacking on your mission. You are the fulcrum through which I impact the world. It's our adventure. And it remains to be seen whether or not you are ready and willing to do that. And it's the word sharing, to share in an adventure. I am your partner in this.
Good morning.
To think that I should have lived to be good morning, my Belladonna Took's son, as if I were selling buttons at the door.
So this is an interesting idea, selling buttons at the door. The fact that Gandalf just showed up at Bilbo's door, just showed up at his house and said, come on, we're going on an adventure. I think, to me, sometimes we think too much that like people have to reach out to us and say, please help me, I need help. And to me, for me, that's not what coaching is. For me, coaching is bringing out somebody's greatest potential. Maybe that happens because they've inquired, but maybe it happens because I am suspicious that maybe they have potential in them that's unrealized. And if that's the case, I'm going to reach out to them. I'm going to create conversation with them, not so that I can get them as a client, but because what if they have something within them that if I helped them to see and access, then they would go out in the world and they would do that thing. And then to us together and sharing that adventure, I'd be able to create my impact. They would create their impact. They would reach their potential. And so Gandalf just showing up at Bilbo's house, just showing up in his life and bringing this inquiry, these questions into his life out of nowhere, unasked for, that's an important point in client creation. What if you just started talking to people with curiosity and inquiring and looking and seeking and digging and finding out what is it that they have that they're not doing? What's their call to adventure they've been ignoring?
You've changed, and not entirely for the better, Bilbo Baggins.
I'm sorry.
Point out their lack of expressed potential. You've changed, and not for the better, Bilbo Baggins. He's suggesting there that you have gotten maybe into a rut, or you've become less and less adventurous, as we'll see later, or you're just not expressing as much of your potential. You've changed, and not so direct. I'm not messing around. I'm just going to be so direct. You've changed, and not for the better. I think this is, and you'll see this, I'll mention this a few times, being so honest. Like, what do you feel? What do you really think about this person? You know what? Like, oh, you had this dream and now you're doing this job. In your head, you're thinking, oh, I shouldn't insult them and have them think and say something about this job as being a little bit like, dude, you had this dream to do this thing and you're doing this for the last 5 years? Like, that's not for the better. Like, what's up with that? What are you going to do differently? When are you going to change this? Say the thing you're thinking. Say the thing you're feeling. Don't hold back, just like Gandalf doesn't.
Well, that's decided. It'll be very good for you. And most amusing for me. I shall inform the others.
So you decide to choose them and move forward despite their interest necessarily at that point, despite their willingness. There's going to be some initial resistance. So if you're talking to somebody and you're asking them about, you know, what their dream is, and they say, this was my dream and this is the thing that I'm doing now, and you say, oh, when are you going to do that? It's like, oh, no, it's too late for that. Don't just give up right there. Like, he doesn't just give up. As soon as Bilbo's like, no, you're crazy. It doesn't stop. No, I'm going to keep moving forward. Like, this is my job. My job in this world is to look inside people's hearts, find out what it is they're capable of that they're ignoring, and call them to it. I'm not going to stop just because it makes you a little uncomfortable because you say no. I'm not going to let my concerns about society get in the way of what they think of me, get in the way of me pursuing what that thing is within you that could help both of us to go and do something and make more of a difference. I'm going to keep going, just like he does.
Well, that's decided. It'll be very good for you. And most amusing for me. I shall inform the others.
And so I want to play that clip again because there's another thing inside there. It will be very good for you and most amusing for me. Again, this is about that idea that it's not just about Bilbo, it's also about Gandalf. He gets to have fun, he gets to enjoy it. Bilbo gets something out of it as well. And it's for both of you. And that's okay. Yes, I'm creating you as a client because there's something I want from it, but there's also I'm creating you as a client because it's for you. This is about both of us.
Wait. We do not want any adventures here. Thank you. Not today. Not. I suggest you try over the hill or across the water. Good morning.
So this is, again, the idea, like, Bilbo says, no, I'm very clear, I'm very certain, no, I didn't want this. And Gandalf is like, whatever, I'm not giving up. He just looks through the window. He doesn't quit, he doesn't give up, he keeps moving forward. Maybe you don't continue the conversation, like he's not kicking the door in right there, he's giving him a little space, but they're gonna keep things going. So yeah, we talked about it, you said, no, I'm not ready to go on that, on that journey, that thing, I know. But maybe when you get home, you send them a little text message or a little email, a little like poke. You know what? You gave me some insight into what that thing is that you want. I'm not going to leave you alone now. I'm going to keep messing with you. I'm going to poke you. I'm going to remind you. In a month, you're going to get an email from me. Hey, remember that thing? In 6 months, you're going to get an email. Hey, here's an article of this person doing that thing you said you wanted to do. You're still not doing it. Have you changed your mind yet? Like, keep poking. Don't stop. Doesn't mean that you have to be an ass, but it does mean that you don't give up on serving them by reminding them of their greatest purpose and their deeper potential that they're not acting on.
You're going on a quest.
Bilbo, my dear fellow, let us have a little more light.
And so this is another example of just putting things in motion. I guess I'm kind of saying the same thing twice here, but it's another, like Gandalf just shows up with all of the people that are going on this adventure. He just tells them to come to his house. Like, I'm just going to assume that you're going to say yes eventually, so we're just going to keep putting things in forward, keep putting things in motion. Maybe another way of saying it is like, what if you started asking the person questions by email or by phone or every time you see them that would assume that at some point they're about to move forward, so we may as well continue to discuss this thing. So what would be that first step? What if you were to do that? What would be the first thing that you would do? And just start assuming that it's going to happen. Keep the ball rolling. And you do this tongue-in-cheek too. You do it kind of in a fun, funny way necessarily. You don't have to just push them and be, like I said, don't be an ass, but like make it fun. Being like, yeah, I know you're not going to do it. So anyway, I know you don't want to do it right now. So anyway, if you were to do it right now, what would that be, right? And just keep playing with it. Keep calling them to that adventure. Don't give up. See, I'm pausing this again. It doesn't mean be pushy. It's being pulley. It's not giving up on their heart. Sometimes you have to ignore the ego of them, their egoic fear, and keep calling their heart. Their fear-based ego might be annoyed with you, but their heart, if you're coming from your heart and you're connecting with what's really true for them, and it's really about them doing something and being in their greatness, then they're not going to be like mad at you in a real, like, deep way. They might be annoyed, but it's going to be in their head, and deep down they're going to know that you're doing it to serve them, so it's okay, right? It's a subtle thing, but I think you get what I'm talking about. I hope you get what I'm talking about.
So, what beast?
Well, that would be a reference to Smaug the Terrible, chiefest and greatest calamity of our age.
Airborne fire breather. Teeth like razors, claws like meat hooks. Extremely fond of precious metals.
Yes, I know what a dragon is.
So, point out the dragon. The dragon is their deepest and greatest fear. Talk about the fear. Don't just dance around it. And actually, a lot of times, I'll ask and find out and search with people what their deepest, greatest fear is, because usually on the other side of that fear is the thing they most want to do. Bilbo's adventure is over, stealing this thing from where the dragon's at and getting the mountain back. So it's like overcoming that dragon is the other side of the thing that they most want. And so explore people's deepest fear. If they don't know what their deepest secret dream is, well, what are the things they're most afraid of? Talk about that with them. And once you got some clarity on that, then flip it upside down and start talking about, well, why are you so afraid of that? What is the thing that you would accomplish if you were to face that fear? And talking about the dragon, although it makes Bilbo and your potential client uncomfortable to talk about that greatest fear, it's actually serving them to do so in the same way that it's serving them to talk about their deepest dream, because it's just two sides of the same coin.
The task I have in mind will require a great deal of stealth and no small amount of courage. But
so as you can see in this scene, Gandalf is talking about the person that needs to go on this journey will require stealth and courage. And he's basically talking about Bilbo. And he's seeing the connection between what this journey will require and what Bilbo has. So what I want you to look for when you're talking to people who are potential coaching clients is, what is it in them that's special and unique? What is the characteristic within them that you can link to their dream, the thing that they want to do? What is it they want to do? And what do you see in them that's special, that means that actually this person, this unique person, has a pretty good chance of achieving that because they have this special characteristic and this thing that they would need. Look for that connection, find it for yourself, and then share it with them, like Gandalf has with Bilbo. Indirectly, albeit, but he made sure that he knew. He looked over at him and he's like, oh, is that about me?
Aye, the wild is no place for gentle folk who can neither fight nor fend for themselves.
Enough, if I say Bilbo Baggins is a burglar and a burglar he is.
So, and this epicness of Gandalf standing up and like shaking the earth and thunder, what if you brought that level of conviction in your belief in this person's ability to achieve that dream that they have? And this will come from you spending time really looking for, being curious about, what is it in this person? What's special about them? Like I said in this previous clip, what is it that's special about them? What is their character? Why, not only did this person want to do it, but why is this person capable? Why are they able? You believe first, and then share that belief with them. Have conviction, demonstrate it for them, talk to them about it, talk to other people about it. Let it come from a deep place. Don't freak it. None of this shit will work if you just lip service it. Find the real place for you to believe and demonstrate that belief and that conviction in them. Your faith in them will generate their faith in themselves and their confidence in their ability to go on the adventure.
Hobbits are remarkably light on their feet. In fact, they can pass unseen by most if they choose. And while the dragon is accustomed to the smell of dwarf, the scent of a hobbit is all but unknown to him, which gives us a distinct advantage.
So this is kind of an extension of the previous, but what Gandalf is doing here is he's talking to the rest of the company, the people, the other guys there, but he's distinctly laying out all the specific reasons why he believes that Bilbo is the perfect person for this adventure. And I do this with people all the time. I reflect back to them the thing that they want to do and all the specific reasons why it just makes perfect sense for them to be the one to do it. Why at this time in their life? Why with their skill set? Why with their experience? Why with their courage and their whatever the characteristics are that they have? Why them? And I tell them, make sure I clearly, specifically outline them all. When I'm talking to them, again, reiterating it in email, make sure that they get what it is about them that makes the thing that they want to do so obviously something that they should do and that they're capable of doing.
You asked me to find the 14th member of this company, and I have chosen Mr. Baggins.
So in this scene, Gandalf is indirectly letting Bilbo know that if he goes on this adventure, he won't be alone, and Gandalf will be with him. And so, obviously in a coaching relationship, it's not indirect, it's obvious, but making sure, what you want to make sure is that when you're talking about this journey, this adventure, and the things that's scaring them, talk about the fact that you're happy to be there to support them on that. This is why you're having this conversation. What you love to do is to support people through those things. Every time they feel a fear or hesitation, I could be with you. I could help you. I could support you. If you were to face that and I were to be there to support you, what might we talk about? I want to role play with that a bit right now. How might we handle that? So making sure that they know that, not that they know because they know it's a coaching thing, but making sure that they stay conscious and present with the fact that they wouldn't be doing this alone.
There's a lot more to him than appearances suggest. And he's got a great deal more to offer than any of you know. Including himself.
And so we've talked about explaining what you see in them and specifically laying out not only the characteristics, but all the reasons why you think they should go on their adventure. But you also want to make it really clear that you see a potential in them that they don't see in themselves. That's even deeper than what you've been able to verbalize and explain. That's more than what you've talked about. That's not even tangible or something that you could even explain. It's just you have a potential that you're not realizing. And again, don't lip service, don't bullshit this. If you see their ability and their potential deeper than they're seeing it, make sure that they know that you see that. Their faith in you will become their faith in their ability to do that thing. which comes from your faith in them. Your faith in them creates their faith in you, which creates their faith in their ability to do that thing, to do their adventure.
No.
Give him the contract.
Warren,
Please.
we're off.
It's just the usual summary of out-of-pocket expenses, time required, remuneration, funeral arrangements, so forth.
Funeral arrangements?
So this is just kind of a funny little piece I wanted to keep in because it's like the idea of a contract in the movie is, I mean, there's a point where you talk logistics. What's the actual nuts and bolts of the coaching? How does it work? For how long? What's the fee? All that stuff. And the thing is like, this stuff is so incidental, but so many coaches make it like the big thing. Well, we're going to talk for this much time, for this long. Here's the fee and this and the payment plan. It's like, shit, man, like that stuff is just like so small in comparison to what we're really talking about. And so this reminds me to present the fee, the logistics of the coaching is so incidental to the real conversation here is about you going on this journey, yes or no? You facing your greatest fear, this dragon, yes or no? You going and crossing the threshold and quitting the job or starting a new business or whatever it is. That's the conversation. Yeah, the contract fees, yeah, that's fine, whatever. The fees are what they are, the terms, this is how it works. But really, it goes back to this. So you present it, and you do present it clearly, contract, all laid out, very clear. Maybe you do it in email, and you do that, but it's so... Your energy, your focus on that is that it's so secondary or tertiary to what we're really talking about here. Because if you put all your focus on the contract, they're going to too, and it's not going to be about the adventure, the journey, the results they want to create in their life. And that's the place you actually want it to be.
I cannot guarantee his safety. Understood. Nor will I be responsible for his fate. Agreed.
So this is a super important point in let me just reset this for the next clip. This is a super important point for you as the coach. This is Gandalf getting advice from Thorin and understanding in the context, the relation between him and Bilbo. And that is that, like, you can't guarantee that your clients are going to achieve their results. You can't guarantee that the things they're afraid of happening might happen. You can't wrap yourself up inside of their journey and take on their fears. You have to look at your partnership with them as something where you do everything you can to support them, while at the same time you allow them to succeed or fail every step of the way. If you're not allowing them, you're becoming attached and you're actually not really serving them in that case. So I think this clip, if anything, is one of the most important things to remember as a coach, especially when you're creating clients, and to remember that, like, I'm not going to get attached to your outcome. And if people try to put this on you, like if somebody asks me, can you guarantee my results? Are you freaking kidding me? The fact that you just asked me if I can guarantee your results makes me pretty damn sure that you're not the client for me, because that means you're looking for me to carry. I'm not going to carry you up the mountain. I'm not going to carry you into Mordor. No way. You have to do this. You get what I'm talking about? It's like, this is their journey, their adventure. You can't guarantee anything. And at the same time, I will do everything I can to support you to make sure that you reach your potential so that you can achieve it.
I need air.
Flash of light, searing pain, then poof! You're nothing more than a pile of ash.
Nope.
This is funny. So they're letting him feel the fear of this adventure. They're letting him get uncomfortable. One of the things my coach has taught me is our job is to serve, not to please. One of the great things, the lines that I got from a book, Daring Greatly, which I've tweaked a bit, is she used to say, if I'm not teaching, I say, if you're not uncomfortable, then I'm not coaching. She says, if you're not uncomfortable, I'm not teaching. I say, if you're not uncomfortable, I'm not coaching. And so even in the beginning, when you first meet people, create discomfort, let them be uncomfortable. And look, again, I have to mark this out. You are not creating discomfort and pain as a manipulative technique to get them to feel so afraid of this thing that they'd have to sign up for coaching. Forget that shit. That doesn't work. If you do that, it's sleazy, it's creepy, and if you did it under that way and they signed up, they're just going to hate you after anyway. This is different. This is about you holding them to their truth, you holding them to their greatest fear, and letting them feel the discomfort, not so that they can become your client, but because by allowing them to look away from it over and over and over again, you're allowing them to ignore their greatest gifts. Their greatest gifts, the thing they're being called to do, points them in the direction of their demons, of their fears, of the things that they're afraid of. Like if your deepest fear is public speaking and you're holding them to that and asking them, you know, to think about that and to feel that and to be uncomfortable with that, or if you ask them to think about the fear and the risks of leaving a job and this, you know, not having the security, and they don't want to think about it, they don't want to be uncomfortable, and you avoid that, then you're not serving them, because they're only thinking about that, they're only uncomfortable about that because there's something beyond that that they want. There's something beyond that where they have an opportunity to really serve and impact the world. And you're holding them in discomfort, allowing them to feel that because it serves them.
I'll be all right. Just let me sit quietly for a moment.
You've been sitting quietly for far too long.
So this is another example of no bullshit. Can you just let me sit quietly for a moment? Look, man, you've been sitting quietly for too long. You know, maybe I just need some time to think about this. Maybe it's not the right time. When is it going to be the right time? How long are you going to wait? Clock's ticking. Days are going by. What year is it? Days are going by, weeks, months, years. How many more jobs are you going to take? How long are you going to wait? Because you're thinking this inside your head. You can see the picture. Of course you can. They can see it too. By you not saying it, you're not serving them. You're trying to please them. You're trying to be all comfy and nice. Look, if you have something that's going on with you, like Gandalf does, is like, you've been sitting for too long. Don't ask me to sit. What we're talking about here is something so much more important than sitting. We're only talking about this because it's true for you.
Tell me, when did doilies and your mother's dishes become so important to you?
Challenge them, just like he does, that they're not fully alive. Look, man, you have settled. I just keep saying man. I'm picturing a potential client as a guy in my head, but of course I work with actually a little bit more women than men. But so, pardon me for using the word man over and over again. It's also because I'm thinking about Bilbo. But why, like, challenge them about where their life is at, you know? Talk about the reality of their life. Point out how different it is from the thing that they want to have. Point out how small it is from what they have the capability of doing or being. Be direct. Challenge them that what they're doing, what they're settling for is settling. And that's not serving them. It's not serving the world for them to settle.
I remember a young hobbit who was always running off in search of elves in the woods. He'd stay out late. Come home after dark, trailing mud and twigs and fireflies. A young hobbit who would have liked nothing better than to find out what was beyond the borders of the Shire.
So this is great, because what Gandalf is doing now is he's reminding Bilbo of his adventurous childhood. And so what you want to do is remind your clients of times in their life when they've been adventurous. How do you do that? You ask them about it. What were times where you've done things like this? What were times where you have overcome fears? What was the result of that? What were times that you did take a risk? What was that like? And maybe going all the way back to childhood if you need to. What were you like when you were a kid? Were you like this when you were a kid? What was it like if you weren't like this? Was it more fulfilling? Did you have more passion in your life? Did you feel that your days had more purpose? Even if it was the purpose of a child, did it feel like your days had more purpose than they do now? Don't be afraid.
The world is not in your books and maps. It's out there.
So this is great, because a lot of times people think of going off and doing this thing. It's wrought with uncertainty. Therefore, I'm not going to do it because uncertainty scares me. So uncertainty is a bad thing. But actually, in the framework of adventure, uncertainty is the thing that pulls you and calls you. And so you want to tempt them with the allure of the unknown. Talk about the uncertainty and the unknown as the mystery, as the excitement. Like when you meet somebody new in a potential relationship and, ooh, what's going to happen? It's that mystery, that there's the allure of not knowing where this is going to lead to. And that's a good thing. We go off and we travel and we go on adventures geographically, literally, because we want to see what's going to happen. We don't know. And so I'm a big fan of framing up the uncertainty, the unknown in the future if they were to go on this journey as the reason why they should go, because it's so delicious to engage in that uncertainty and unknown.
I can't just go running off into the blue. I am a Baggins of Bag End.
You are also a Took.
And so this part, I mean, this clip is a little bit... All right, so this is about Gandalf saying to Bilbo that you're also a Took. Basically what he's saying is that because he goes on to say more, I didn't put this part in, but he goes on to explain to Bilbo how, like, he's destined to do this. Like, something has come down through his family line to the point as a Took where this is his destiny. And now I'm not a huge kind of spiritual guy where I think, everything is necessarily predestined in a very kind of like God has a mission and plan for each of us. God in the essence of image of man has a plan for each. That's not my philosophy, but I do like the idea that there is some momentum, there is some unfolding in the context of the world, some unfolding of a complex emergent system, and that there's a force leading and guiding us to such things. It's a complex of chaos and chance, but there's something there. Something has come inside of me through my own experiences, my own decisions and actions, and has now become a potential, an impulse, an idea that's pointing me into that direction. And like, I didn't make that thing, not consciously, fully anyway. Like, it's just there. And I'm okay with starting to talk a little bit about the reality that like, you don't really have a choice of what you're being called to do. Like, this thing is just there. It's not going to go away. Like, you might be able to ignore it, but like, it's kind of too late. Like, this is something that you already are being called to do. You already want to do. Like, try to squelch your desire, good luck. Especially if it comes from a deep place where it really feels true to you. So on some level, this is destiny, woman.
He swung his club so hard, it knocked the Goblin King's head clean off, and it sailed 100 yards through the air and went down a rabbit hole. And thus the battle was won. And the game of golf invented at the same time.
I do believe you made that up.
Well, all good stories deserve embellishment.
And so there's a bunch of stuff in this one, actually. I should have split it up. But the first is that Gandalf is telling stories to inspire Bilbo. And so a great thing to do is to tell stories to inspire your clients, potential clients. Tell them stories about other clients you've worked with that have felt the same fear as them, that have overcome it and decided to cross the threshold anyway, have gone on their adventure and created success and made a difference, who have come to live with passion and live with purpose. Tell them stories, tell them stories. Tell them stories of themselves that they've told you in previous conversations. Reflect them back. Use it as a metaphor for how their past is also what's going on right now. Last time when you were here and you did this, this is what happened. Look, what if you did it again? Tell stories to inspire. All the thing that he's doing here is he's really building tension throughout this conversation. Then he tells a story, and at the end of the story he tells a joke, which kind of relieves some of the tension. It's just like, make it really serious and then lighten it up. Make it really serious and lighten it up. This oscillation, I mean, it's a perfect example of how you kind of build a greater tension by oscillating up and down towards the great climax of the decision to cross the threshold and go on their adventure.
Well, all good stories deserve embellishment.
And so I just played that last bit again because it's where Gandalf is sitting down into the chair. And I think this is a great metaphor for having a really deep heart-to-heart conversation with a potential client. For me, it's not just about having these conversations to acquire, to find out stuff, and to start to poke them and stuff. Like, every single person that I see as a potential client, like the next step of even once I see that potential is for me to block out time for them where them and I have a really deep and powerful personal heart-to-heart conversation where there's no distractions. It's just me and them, sometimes an hour, sometimes 2 hours. Obviously I don't do this with everybody. I do it with people who have gotten to the point where I can see this could really be a potential. This could really be somebody who I think would be willing to go on this and they'd be willing to really serve and make a difference in some way, be it, like I said, on a small or large scale. And so I want to spend some time with them, one-to-one, heart-to-heart. I don't want to sell them coaching. I want them to experience what deep and powerful conversation with me is like. And so that's what I do. That's what I suggest you do. That's how you really connect and make a difference with somebody before they even have to make the decision to go on the journey with or without your support. And so Gandalf doing this here with Bilbo, sitting down in the chair, heart to heart, deep, softer tone of voice. They're by the fire. I mean, look, this is about love. This is about love. My heart, your heart, and the passion and the purpose for your journey. And let's have this deep conversation.
You'll have a tale or two to tell of your own when you come back.
Can you promise that I will come back?
No. And if you do, you will not be the same.
So this is a big piece too. When you're talking with somebody about their journey, you want to foreshadow the return. Foreshadow the return and the transformation. What do I mean by that? Foreshadow what their life will be like. Talk about what will their life be like after they've done this thing, after they've achieved this thing. Spend some time like going deep into visualizing, explaining, and talking about, asking them, obviously, what would it look like? What would it be like? How would you have needed to change as a person? How would you be different as a person? What would your life be like then? What would your relationships be like then? You really want to spend some time on what it's like after the fact, not just during, but after the fact of the entire journey, of the adventure, be it a year, multiple years, decades later.
That's what I thought. Sorry, Gandalf, I can't sign this. You've got the wrong hobbit.
So this is an important idea, and this is a really hard one. It's sensitive, it's touchy when it comes to creating clients as a coach. But there needs to be a willingness to let them walk away and not sign up, to let them walk away and not go on the adventure. So you don't want them to feel like you need them more. And the way that you make sure that they don't feel like you need them more is for you to just not need them more. Like, this is about them, right? And so I have my mission and my purpose to inspire somebody to go on this adventure, but I can't be attached to that. I need to let them walk away. I need to let them be free to make their own decision. If they feel like I'm trying to pull them into this coaching relationship or pull them onto or force them onto this adventure, like, it's not going to work. It has to be encouragement, encouragement, encouragement. I keep talking to your heart, but I don't touch you. I let you step when you're ready to step. And if you're not ready, at the end of the day, like, you're going to have to walk away. Like, it's not going to be me. I'm not going to push you. I had somebody the other day saying, if you want me to sign up for this expensive coaching program, you need to convince me. I was like, you got this all backwards and wrong. Like, I'm not convincing you. If you need to be convinced, like, you need to convince yourself. This isn't about me. It's about you. And so there's a hands-off, kind of simultaneous, like, unattached hands-offness at the same time of continually poking and inspiring. I'm not going to make you do it. I'm going to keep reminding you should do it, but then you got to take the step. This is your journey.
I would take each and every one of these dwarves over an army from the Iron Hills. For when I called upon them, they answered. Loyalty, honor, a willing heart. I can ask no more than that.
So this is Thorin talking to Gandalf, and he's talking about the dwarfs, not Bilbo the Hobbit. But for me, it's all relevant because he's talking about the type of characteristics that this person has to have, and maybe maybe it's different for you. Maybe you don't need potential clients with loyalty, honor, and a willing heart. I kind of like that. It works for me because I'm into the whole working with people that are going to be heroes thing. But find out what it is for you. What characteristics do you want your clients to have? Be clear on what that is. Require that. Maybe you talk about it, or maybe you just know it and you look for it. By you having standards for who it is that you're going to take on your adventure, who you're going to support on their adventure, that being the same thing, people feel that and they trust you more because you're not just willing to do anything for everyone or anyone. What is that? What are you really here to do if you're okay with doing anything for anybody for any reason? What are your standards? Have them, just like Thorin does and just like Gandalf does. We'll see some of Gandalf's in a minute.
Wait! I signed it. More. What's that about?
Oh, they took wagers on whether or not you'd turn up. Most of them bet that you wouldn't.
What did you think?
My dear fellow, I never doubted you for a second.
So this is a good point. Gandalf never stopped doubting Bilbo. It might have looked like he did because he let him go, he walked away, but he didn't give up. He didn't stop believing in him. And then once you believe in somebody, like, don't stop. I've done this and I've caught myself. Like, yeah, they could do this. And as soon as they're like, I'm not going to go, it's like, yeah, they're probably not going to do it. No, forget that. If you're going to let me deep enough into your heart where I can see the potential that you have and I believe in you, I'm going to hold on to that. I'm going to stay that way forever until you go. Because what else do I have to offer you besides my belief at the end of the day that you can do it? And so don't give up on people. Don't stop believing. Once you do believe, don't stop. The only reason you'd stop is because you decided to not focus on that anymore. Keep your belief. Keep your belief in them. Never give up on them.
What on earth is the matter?
I forgot my handkerchief.
You'll have to manage without pocket handkerchiefs. And a good many other things, Bilbo Baggins, before we reach our journey's end.
So this is where he's come back, he's signed the contract, he's followed his call to adventure now, he's working with Gandalf. Gandalf's now his coach, and they're going on the adventure, and so this is just kind of like after they've become your client. Right away, as soon as they decide to go on the adventure, maybe they haven't actually sent the money yet or whatever, or maybe they haven't actually quit the job or done the thing but going on stage or whatever it is yet, but as soon as they decide to, when they're just about embarking, remind them of the challenges they're going to face. Like when a client first signs up with me, as soon as they say yes, before they even send the money, I have a little conversation. It's like, okay, I know you said yes, but I want you to be sure. Just kind of take it away a little bit. Like, this is going to be, let me remind you, are you sure? Because these are all the things you're going to have to face. You're going to face these challenges. You're going to face these fears. I know it seems paradoxical. As soon as they say yes, you should be like, okay, let's go. Don't think about it anymore. No, 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 no. You're not serving them by doing that. Then it's about you, because you're saying, as long as we can avoid thinking about that, they're going to stick with it. You have gotten them to this point because they've trusted you. And continue to create that trust. Continue to serve them by reminding them the moment they make the decision of all the things they're going to face. Not like they're not thinking about it, but your willingness to talk about it at that point, it helps to build even more trust. And that's going to continue to serve them. And it's going to be, they're more likely to create the results in their life, in their own mission.
You were born to the rolling hills and little rivers of the Shire. But home is now behind you. The world is ahead.
So it's just more encouragement. It's like Joseph Campbell in The Hero's Journey calls it the belly of the whale. Like they are now, Bilbo is now in the belly of the whale. He's just crossed the threshold and he's in the company and they're on the horses and they're going. And it's just a matter of time till they get into the first trial, the first challenge they face. And it's just like the stuff I was saying a second ago, but it's encouragement. It's like, because you got to remember, the moment they've signed up, it's like, holy shit, what have I just done? I've just paid a bunch of money for coaching. Oh my God, I've just committed to doing this thing that really scares me. They're like freaking out inside. That is the moment they need your encouragement the most. The world is behind you. I'm sorry, your home is behind you. The world is ahead. Like, remember, there's that allure, there's that mystery. There's so much exciting stuff out there. Don't worry, there's going to be scary stuff, but it's also going to be fun and exciting. He's kind of bring the spirits back up in that moment of fear. So now are some clips from later on in the movie where I wanted to bring in kind of some bonus talking about the kind of qualities of a potential coaching client. These are the ones that work for me. Maybe they'll work for you too, or maybe it will inspire you to come up with some other ones.
Saruman believes that it is only great power that can hold evil in check. But that is not what I have found. I found it is the small things. Everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keeps the darkness at bay. Simple acts of kindness and love.
So this isn't actually about equality. I skipped this is one of the next ones, but this isn't. I think it's such a beautiful philosophical idea. And basically, what Gandalf is saying, it's like it's the small things, it's the little people, a hobbit, you know, that make a difference. They're the ones that really keep evil at bay. And for me, this is a great reminder that like this little thing that I'm doing with this client, yeah, so they're writing a book or they're doing a little bit of they're becoming an artist, and when I have my big like I want to change the world, right, thing, and it's like, well, what is this going to do if I'm just helping this person to do this little thing? No, it's these little things that make the big difference. You know, the whole Gandhi, be the change you want to see. If I'm helping one person to be the change they want to see and that I want to see in the world, and that is the thing. And so I love this thing. It's such a reminder. It's a good reminder for me that like it doesn't matter what I'm doing. It doesn't matter how big the scale of the direct impact that the person I'm working with is having. As long as they're doing something that's different, it's outside of them, that's for the world in some sense, no matter how small it is, that's okay. That's enough. So thanks, Gandalf. Thanks for reminding me. I hope you get that. I hope it inspires you too.
Why, Bilbo Baggins? Perhaps it is because I'm afraid. And it gives me courage.
So this is the one about the qualities of the person. Shit, no, it's not. Why did I say that again? It's only the last clip, the next one, which is a replay of this. But first I wanted to point out, she asks why Bilbo, and Gandalf says, perhaps it is because I'm afraid, and he gives me courage. And so this is actually so true for me. So many of the clients that I've worked with, the things they're doing scare the shit out of me. I'm so happy that they're doing it and not me. Like, I wouldn't be able to run a company with hundreds of people in it. That freaking petrifies me. But I can coach you in doing so. I can show you how to be a better leader because that's it. This is what I'm good at. This is my greatness. And so this is great too, because imagine, I would love to do lots of different things in the world, but like, I'm kind of scared. I don't necessarily always have the courage to do them, but if I can work with somebody else and I can help them to do it, that's awesome. Then we both get to achieve that thing. I get to achieve it through you and you get to achieve it directly. Hey, win-win.
Why, Bilbo Baggins? Perhaps it is because I'm afraid. It gives me courage.
I replayed the clip because there's another meaning that I get from the same piece. Perhaps I'm afraid, and he gives me courage. Like, not just courage in a thankfulness because I'm afraid, but the fact that he gives me courage. Like, when I go out and I look for clients, when I'm talking to people as potential clients, are they inspiring me? Are they making me feel like excited inside? Is talking to them and talking about their vision, their mission, it's like, oh my God, I want that to happen. Not I want them to happen, but I want that to happen in this world. I want to see that thing get written. I want to see that thing get created. I want to see that business happen. I want to see that organization serve those people. I'm excited for this. I'm inspired by this. I want to feel that when I'm talking to a potential client. Gandalf feels it when he's around and talking to Bilbo. Bilbo going on this adventure, that inspires him. That makes him feel courageous and great inside. Makes him feel good. Again, win-win. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching and learning how to create clients like Gandalf. I hope you found it insightful, inspiring. If you have any questions about any of the points that I shared in here, just go ahead and leave a comment below the video or click the link, get to my website, send me an email. I will happily expand on any of the things that I said in here. I have lots more to share about each point, but obviously you can't say too much. I'm trying to put a lot into this one thing. So reach out to me and anyway, share the video. Tell your friends about it if they're coaches as well. The more people we can have out there helping people to access their deepest potential and to go on their adventures, the better off we're all going to be in this world. So thanks a lot. Much love.